Hello friends, and welcome back to Rise with Raman. Today we are going to go over what home appraisals are and the process of home appraisals. Whether you are buying a home, using a mortgage, refinancing your existing mortgage, or selling your home, a home appraisal is a key component of the transaction. If you are a buyer, owner, or seller, you will want to understand how the appraisal process works and how an appraiser determines a home's value. Before we start, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be the first one to know when I post a new video. Let's start with a quick rundown of home appraisals. An appraisal is an unbiased professional opinion of a home's value and is used whenever a mortgage is involved in buying, refinancing, or selling that property. A qualified appraiser creates a report based on an in-person inspection using recent sales of similar properties, current market trends, and aspects of the home. For example, amenities, floor plan, square footage, to determine the property's appraisal value. The borrower usually pays the appraisal fee, which can be few $100s. When the appraisal value is lower than expected, the transaction can be delayed or even cancelled. Those are the very basics of what a home appraisal is. But now let's get down to the details. So what's the home appraisal exactly? A home appraisal is an unbiased professional opinion of a home's value. So appraisals are used in purchase and sale transactions and commonly in refinance transactions. In a purchase and sale transactions, an appraisal is used to determine whether the home's contract price is appropriate given the home's condition, location, and features. In refinance transaction, an appraisal assures the lender that they aren't lending the borrower more money than the home is worth. Lenders want to make sure the homeowners are not overborrowing for a property because the home serves as a collateral for the mortgage. If the borrower default on the mortgage and go into foreclosure, the lender will sell the home to recoup the money it lent. The appraisal helps the bank protect itself against lending more than it might be able to recover in this worst case scenario. Now let's talk about the appraisal process and how values are determined. Because appraisals primarily protect the lender's interest, the lender will usually order the appraisal. An appraisal costs few $100s and the borrower generally pays the fees. According to the Appraisal Institute, an association of professional real estate appraisers, a qualified appraiser should be licensed or certified and be familiar with the local areas. Per the regulation, the appraiser must be impartial and have no direct or indirect interest in the transaction. A property's appraisal value is influenced by recent sales of similar properties and by current market trends. The home's amenities, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, the floor plan's functionality, and the square footage are also key factors to assessing the home's value. The appraiser must perform a complete visual inspection of the interior and exterior and note any conditions that adversely affect the property's value, such as needed repairs. When an appraiser is going through with an appraisal, they have to produce an appraisal report. Typically, appraisers follow the Canadian Uniform Standard of Professional Appraisal Practice, or CUSPAP for short, when creating a report. The report asks the appraiser to describe the interior and exterior of the property, the neighborhood, and the nearby comparable sales. The appraisal then provides an analysis and conclusion about the property's value based on their observation. There are a few things the report must include, like a street map showing the appraised property and comparable sales used, an exterior building sketch, an explanation of how the square footage was calculated, photographs of the home's front, back, and street scene, front exterior photographs of each comparable property used, and other information such as market sales data, public land records, and public tax records that the appraisal require to determine the property's fair market value. Now let's talk about what you need to know about appraisal if you are a home buyer. When you are buying a home and are under contract, the appraisal will be one of the first step in the closing process. If the appraisal comes in at or above the contract price, the transaction proceed as planned. But if the appraisal comes in the below the contract price, however, it can delay or derail the transaction. Chances are that neither you nor the seller wants the transaction to fall through. As the buyer, you have an advantage in that a low appraisal can serve as a negotiation tool to convince the seller to lower the price. The bank won't lend you or any other prospective buyer more than the home is worth. Though appraisal helps buyers avoid overpaying for home, a seller may feel that a lower appraisal is inaccurate and be reluctant to drop the price. If a bad appraisal is standing between you and your home purchase or sale, look into getting a second opinion via another appraisal by a different person. Appraisers can make mistake or have imperfect information, and appraisals can be affected by bias. You can also try presenting a credible case for a higher value to the original appraiser. They may agree with you and revise the valuation. Now here is what you need to know about appraisal if you are a seller. As a seller, if you get a low appraisal, it means you may have to lower your home's price to get it sold. Holding out for an all-cash buyer who doesn't require an appraisal as a condition of completing the transaction is unlikely to get you a higher sales price. No one wants to overpay for a home. Unfortunately, if your surrounding area has experienced recent distress sale, which is when a property is quickly sold due to external financial reasons, that can lower your home's appraisal value. If you feel that your home's value has been dragged down by the sale price of a nearby foreclosure and distress sale, you may be able to convince the appraisal that your home is worth more if it is in significantly better condition than these properties. If you are refinancing a conventional mortgage, a low appraisal can prevent you from doing so. The home needs to appraise at or above the amount you want to refinance for your loan to be approved. So, how long does a home appraisal take? The appraisal process takes an average of 7 to 10 days. The appraisers visit the property and spends an hour or two inspecting the home's interior and exterior, measuring the square footage and evaluating the home's feature and fixtures. The appraisal also compares the home to other similar recently sold homes in the neighborhood. After doing the physical inspection and running the comps, the appraisal writes an appraisal report. The amount of time it takes for the entire process depends on the complexity of the appraisal and appraiser's workload or schedule. In terms of the cost of a home appraisal, typically you are going to be looking at around $300 to $500. The home's location, size, and condition factors into the cost. Appraisers should work on a flat fee or an hourly basis. If the appraiser expects to be paid on a percentage of the home's value, it can signal an unethical practice which should be avoided. Now you may be wondering what lowers a home appraisal. The home's location has the biggest impact on the valuation. For example, the value will be negatively impacted if the home is an undesirable neighborhood or situated next to a junkyard, power lines, or a busy street. Though you cannot change the property's location, you can do something about other factors that could lower the home appraisal. For instance, you can spruce up your curb appeal, make the house clean and tidy, and take care of any light repairs and routine maintenance stuff. In conclusion, when everything goes smoothly, the home appraisal is just another box to check on a home closing checklist. When the appraisal value is lower than expected, the transaction can be delayed or even cancelled. Regardless of which situation you encounter in your home buying, selling, or refinancing experience, a basic understanding of how the appraisal process functions can only work in your favor, especially if you are buying your first home. I hope this video helped you learn all about home appraisal, and make sure to leave any questions you have in the comments below. Subscribe, hit the bell, and make sure to follow me, Rise with Raman, on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you very much.